I'm Sarina Fazan, taking a risk, making a difference, and changing the course of your life. Remarkable stories from people defying the odds. You're listening to Trailblazer. Everyone, I'm Sarina Fazan, and welcome to my podcast, Trailblazer. Can we start again?
Yeah.
I never have to do that.
And I kicked the camera, so it's actually perfect.
Yeah.
You did? Okay, I
Yeah.
never have to do that either. All right. Okay.
Whatever you want.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarina Fazan, and welcome to my podcast, Trailblazer, where you hear from amazing people and their remarkable stories. This edition, though, is part of a special series. As a journalist, I get questions all the time. I've been blessed. I've interviewed presidents. I've actually interviewed people on death row and everybody in between. Well, lately, when I'm out and about, the biggest question I get is dating in America. So the last Thursday of every month, we are dedicating the show to dating in America, and I have three wonderful guests. Jessica Rutley is here with us. Hi, Jess.
Hey, how are you?
Aaron Jacobson. Does that name sound familiar to a lot of people? Aaron?
I'm so nervous for today.
Oh, please.
I'm going to reveal so much about myself.
He's on the number one radio show here in Tampa, Florida, WFLA Radio, and other shows as well.
Yep, AM Tampa Bay with Jack Harris in the morning, and then Pat and Aaron show on WDA if you want some sports.
Can you tell he's got a great radio voice?
And now everyone's going to see my radio face. Thank you.
And it looks good. It looks great. Are you kidding? And, of course, we have Law Smith here, who has his own podcast and who is an entrepreneur.
Yeah, the entrepreneur part comes with a lot of failure, but yeah,
No,
that's what entrepreneur means to me. But it looks nice on the dating apps, so you got to have some kind of title. And entrepreneur sounds fancy. It sounds like a Rockefeller
And a cat or dog picture.
Oh yeah, you got to have a dog picture
Are you
in
guys
there.
serious about that?
Oh yeah, there's a strategy to it. I can
I
go
thought
over
it was
if y'all
the
want.
fish picture that really pulled the
I've
girls
been
in.
missing it this whole time.
Is it not?
That's why we have Jessica here. So you guys are launching. You are launching the series on dating in America. And so we have, Jessica has found the love of her life, haven't you?
I have.
And these guys are still in search of the love of their life.
I don't
Right.
know if it exists.
And let me. I'm trying to produce and be a guest at the same time. So let me tell. Can you hear yourself on there?
Just a tad bit.
You
yeah.
need a little bit more.
A little bit more would be fantastic. Yeah, no, I am. I don't know at this point. I turn 29 tomorrow, and I'm like, I don't know if the love of my life is out there.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
happy birthday.
So yeah, I don't know if it exists for me.
Really?
I'm getting to that point. Yeah.
Okay, well, what is it? What is it? Are you on dating apps?
Yeah,
Or?
I've done the dating apps. I'm still on Tinder. It's more of a me thing.
What's the longest relationship you've had?
3 years.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
and
I've had a. That's a. Oh, wait, you want to go down that trail this early in the
Yeah.
podcast?
Yes. Why
this
not?
is Trailblazers.
All right. So this is a girl I dated in high school, the end of high school. Dated her in a bit of college. I went to University of Tampa. She was at UCF. Did a bit of a long distance thing. After college, she moved to California. We never had a bad breakup. It was just kind of you go do your thing in California, I do my thing here. You see who you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we still talk all the time. I mean, this was 8 years ago, and I go to California. I see her when I'm there. We're together. When she comes back here, we're together. I see her maybe 3 or 4 times a year, and then we're doing our own thing on the side. I'm dating, and I think that's my biggest hurdle to get over is that that's always in the back of my mind.
Well, why don't you guys try to pursue a relationship then?
She's doing her thing in L.A., and I'm busy here. I've got the morning show and the afternoon show. That is like, at what point do you separate your career? And I've seen people say, I'm going to put my career aside and go chase who I love. Separate the career from the social aspect, the love on the side.
I think it's just safe. I think it's a safe thing for you because she's so far away. And you just refuse to cut it. Because if you cut it before, you can find someone else who have to just cut that friendship in a sense. Because
I don't want to cut it.
Wow.
It's so hard.
it is hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
That's the hard part. But that is like one of the hardest things. I think that happens a lot with people in love and not letting go. There's a reason why she left. There's a reason why you're here.
Yeah.
And that you guys did not stay together.
And in the meantime, I don't know about you, I'm on the dating apps. I'm on Tinder, Bumble. And, I meet girls out there. And we have fun. It's all fun, but it never lasts.
Yeah. Well, all right. So we're in my office in the studio that's within my consulting firm call it advisory or old school advisory, business advisory firm meets kind of digital services. So we do a lot of digital marketing. I just see it as online, offline marketing to me. I'm my own kind of vessel. So if I'm a brand, if I'm playing digital strategist for myself, I'll do the offline things that I'm already doing, but it doesn't hurt to do the online. So a lot of things, when I tell a lot of people I'm on a lot of dating apps, they go, well, I just prefer to do offline. And I go, well, I do that too. They don't have to be, exclusive, right? Like
But the offline is dying. It's dying.
Well, the offline dies if you make it dead, right? Like
millennials have killed it.
Is it really dying though?
I'm the
do you
oldest
think?
millennial. I'm 34, so I don't know. I see it as like I was never really that guy that can go hit on a girl like just off the cuff. I've done it before. It has to be like everything's going well in my life to be able to do it in a way. But I've never been that like I do stand up at night, but that's secretly not that's masquerading as a conversation, but it's really a monologue in a lot of ways. So it's kind of like you're not really that. People think you're an extrovert. It's actually more introvert than you think.
That's the biggest issue I think my girlfriends have is girls go out. There's still the gender role that a girl wants. A girl wants a man to approach her. A girl wants to have that guy, come approach her. She doesn't want to have to approach the man. I know things are changing, but that doesn't really happen anymore, and especially with the guys because they do have the online dating. So when people are out, they're just out. You're out with your friends. You go out, you can say, oh, he's cute, she's hot, and you go home. Where before you had to because you didn't have those other facets to go to. So now you're kind of in this dilemma where I've gone out with tons of gorgeous girls. We've gone out the entire night and not been approached once.
And so you think that is
it's
a problem right now?
I don't know if it's a problem. It's just that is
an issue or
where it's going. I just feel like, nobody approaches anymore. You
It's
just
harder.
assume
It's
it is.
harder.
It is.
The lazy way to do it is, and I'm different than you. I love hitting on women at bars. I love it. I love it. But it's a long play, right? Like you got to get the drink, you got to pay for the drink, you got to have a conversation. Whereas Tinder, you're at home hanging out, doing your thing, watching your TV show, and building that relationship, getting to know the person. It's much easier, more convenient for the person to do it behind a screen.
But can we also talk about the text instead of the call?
Oh boy. Okay,
I'm a call guy.
Okay,
You
you
have
are
to call.
you are a
Yeah,
call guy.
I'm a call guy.
You have to call, and that's another thing that ruins it is these texts. You don't get that motion going. You don't know if you have the flow, and it's just a constant like, okay, hit here, then you don't hear from them for a while, then they'll pop you back later, and it dies.
Did they read my text? I could see if they read my
Right,
text. No,
right.
They didn't text me back.
But it dies.
Oh, you do read receipts, huh?
I do, yes.
You do
I
read
don't.
receipts.
I don't do that. I don't want the. I don't.
You don't want that in your head.
I'm done with text. I think I'm gonna be an old school call guy.
Yeah.
And I don't care if that makes me sound like really old manish. There's some nuance. I think 90% of all my fights with any female I've ever have a relationship with, not even just a friendship or a working relationship, it has something to do with something not understood in text and sarcasm. We need a sarcasm font. I'm pretty sure we can make that happen. But like something always gets misunderstood, and I always feel too bad about it. And then you're always backpedaling, and it makes a relationship weird. I don't know.
You need both. You need the phone call, you need the beginning, but you also need the good text banter.
But like the text is like, for me, text is like, Sarina was like, "Hey, are you good to record today?" Yep, that's it. That's great. That's all. That's good for that.
Yeah.
But when you're dating, you need to have a little more. Like,
But in text,
Yes, like banter, like fun.
well, I mean,
I need somebody with good text banter. That's a big deal to me.
I'm really trying to
what to you is
be on my
good
best
text
behavior.
banter?
What are you wearing right now?
Oh.
No, absolutely
Well,
not.
that goes
No,
into
don't-
sexting.
I'm like, what?
Which you need that too, but no.
It's not first. You don't open up with that. Everyone's staring at me.
I'm
like,
sorry,
don't
I'm a
do
little
that.
gullible and naive, so
Sense of humor, going back and forth, inside jokes, like taking a picture, sending it. Lots of that, lots of memes or the gifts. Or it is gifts actually.
GIFs, GIFs, tomato,
It's
tomato.
gifts. From what I've heard, and I've always said GIFs, but it's gifts. But all of that, because throughout the day, it's nice just to have that little touch, even if you're working, that you know somebody's thinking about you, you know that they're interested, you stay, you're laughing, you look at your phone, you smile, and then at night or in the morning you get the phone call. Good morning, how's your day? Whatever it may be.
I
But
want to look at my phone and smile.
Yeah.
I haven't had that in a while.
You're
Right.
smiling right now.
I am.
Right,
We're having a
just
conversation.
right, just thinking about it. Okay, Jess, I want to go back to something that you said when you said you would, you'll go out with your friends and you'll be out with them all night. Really pretty girls, very successful, and yet no one approaches them in bars because everybody's relying on these dating apps. So,
I
what
think
would
it's
you say?
intimidating. I think girls go out in crowds. That's intimidating. You have the one girl you want to hit on, but then you've got all the friends who have an opinion.
We call that the offensive line.
The
Yeah.
offensive line.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Which
got to
we
get through
are.
that offensive
We are,
line.
you know, and we're very protective of our friends. You know, like, who's this guy? What's
And
he
there's the
doing?
one friend that has the boyfriend, right? That has no desire to be hit on, doesn't want her friends to be hit on. That's the center.
Right,
Yeah.
The one
because
that
then you're
treats you
taking
as a
away
person.
from her friend and her night out. But
Right.
it's hard. I get it. I mean, I can't imagine being a man and having to get that courage, walk up,
Being a white male, it's fucking, it's tough.
telling you. And then
19.
for the girl, maybe, and girls can be rude. Instead of being polite and kind about it and being flattered by it, sometimes, and, they've kind of done it to themselves as well, they're nasty about it,
I've done that. I've done
And
that.
I don't understand that.
I
To
shake it
me, you have to, but it's like so rude because it's your ego. And you're already putting yourself out there and you don't know, if they have a boyfriend, you're just out there trying. And when they're nasty back or they give you like such a rude response, it makes you altogether just want to stop, I'm sure. Because I would be like that. I'd be like, I'm done.
Well, what about the setting of doing this? I mean, it's kind of, we're putting ourselves, meeting at a bar might not be the best spot. Like when I've gone out of my way to do things like that are outside of my comfort zone, like doing yoga class, I can barely touch my toes. But when I try to consistently do it, I go, okay, this isn't my thing, right? At least I'll write some material about it or something. But when I've gone out of my way to do that, I've met women in a different realm that I would never jump into. They're not the type that's usually going out. They're pretty crunchy. They're not out there drinking at night and stuff. So is there anything about maybe the setting might be the part of the problem?
Yeah.
I just hijacked your show and asked questions.
No, I love it. I love it. That's what the show is about.
I don't know. I think every time you put yourself out there, you give yourself a better chance of finding someone. And
Sure.
I think bars are good because people's inhibitions are down. They're drinking, they're having fun, and that, and where yoga could be hard because if you find that hardcore yoga person that's so like, do not mess with my yoga. This is my time, and I cannot believe you're actually coming and hitting on me, or vice versa. Like that person's out there too.
I just whispered,
looking.
Namaste. Here's my number.
Works every time.
Yeah, works. I'm the guy who can't
So-
touch his toes in the back.
It's funny because I just feel like there's no rules. Like I was set up, and I've always said
That's
there's
good.
no way that somebody's going to set me up, and I've been set up a couple times, and it's always been, I don't want to say a disaster, but great night, shut it down, but not interested that way.
Yeah.
I always make a friend out of it, and I'm like, and then they're, hey, let's do it again. I'm like, I would love to, but not romantically. And they're like, what? We had a great time. But to me, it's a chemistry thing, and there's no rhyme or reason why it works or doesn't work. And people will ask me, well, why? What is it? And I'm like, I don't know. You're a
Smell?
great-looking guy. Smell's a big deal.
That's a weird
It's
one.
like
I just
I
realized.
love certain people. Like there's pheromones, there's all
Yeah.
these things, but there's just, I always say it's like that one tiny little thing that happens instantly.
At what point was it with you?
Oh my gosh, in 5 minutes.
Really?
It was
See,
like
Yeah, you-
that.
Is that
you
amazing?
just know. You just, I mean,
How long have you been dating?
3 years.
Wow.
And they're getting married.
Oh, congratulations. Mazel
Oh, thank
tov.
you.
Yeah.
Mazel tov. Yes.
Do we have a wine glass to break?
I'm down. It's now I try and I put a lot of pressure on it because I'm trying to find at my age. I'm trying to find somebody that I've done the fun. I've done the the hookups and the short-term dating. Now it's time to get serious. I want to find somebody I like. So you brought up location.
Yeah.
I think of it in other ways too. Like I want to go somewhere where I know I'm going to mesh with somebody. I'm
Okay.
very particular. I have my likes. I love sports. So if I go to a baseball game now, I keep an eye on Facebook. You'll see sometimes. I'm a big Mets fan. If I see a woman's a Mets fan, right away I go, oh, that's interesting. That's something you could have in common. Now I'm at that point where I'm trying to look for something in common because I know I've been around long enough to know that if you don't, it's just
she'll see you're a Mets fan and go, oh, that's adorable. He likes losing teams. He likes the Rays and the Mets. Okay, I think I can fix him. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, honestly, I did a story on this a while ago about how to meet the perfect mate, and they did say to do things that you enjoy, going to sporting events, maybe going to a coffee shop. That could be a good concert. I mean, those type of places, you find people who have the same interest as you do, and it could be, just conversation starter. And that's the most important thing. And Jess, I think you said something too, when you should keep your mind open to any possibility because you didn't want to go on the blind date.
Well, I also find that directness is really important. And one thing that helped me in dating, and I started weeding through people, is I didn't wait to say, oh, I want children, I don't want children, or I want marriage, or I don't want marriage. The point I decided I'm ready to date, I was like, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for, and this is what I'm ready for.
How quickly, though? Just immediately?
Oh, within that first date. And because everybody knows what they want. And it's like, I have girlfriends who are like, well, I don't want to say that right away because that's going to scare them away. And I'm like, then good.
Yeah,
it saves you so much time.
Yeah.
So when I met Randy, I was like, look, I don't want any more children. I'm so ready to be in a committed relationship, and I'm ready to find somebody to spend the rest of my life with, and no games. I'm very gender role. I like being the woman. I like my man being the man, and I was very upfront about all of it.
You just hit on something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
In 2019, you kind of alluded to it earlier. It's hard to know if you should take that role because naturally you want to go, I'm the man. I want to be the man. Women in 2019 don't like that all the time.
Right. Well, I think it's a blurred line. It's hard, and I feel for you guys because there is that that feminist party out there. I am no part of that party, but I like gender roles. I like old fashioned, and it works really well.
I'm finding more women I talk to about this because we're fed a lot of that where genders are fluid now and there's no role anymore. And it's the more I talk to women, I have a lot of friends that I'm women with, women that are my friends. Well, I was trying not to say I have girlfriends, and then that sounds like I'm a creepy guy that says I got lady friends. Yeah, I want to be that guy with the ponytail, in Florida. That's like me and my lady friend were out the other night. I want to stay away from that guy as far as possible. But I always talk to a lot of friends of mine, colleagues that are women. I ask them about is this something that we've been fed kind of media-wise? It's not. I don't think it's an original thought. I think there's gender roles because there's gender roles, and that's not. It just is, right? It's not like a thing that we should assimilate to because we've been told. There is roles. I know a lot of relationships where it's more of a codependent from the man, and the female is more of the alpha, and that's fine. And a lot of the more physical things, a lot of more get up and go kind of stuff, where the man's a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more nurturing, the things that I would attribute more towards a female role. I don't think that has anything to do. That's how they are.
Right.
It's not all that they've been together 15 years. As before all this horse s. Yeah. See,
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. About we are all equal, but we're not the same. Right. That's how I feel about it.
I know. I think people are so trying to follow. I mean, times are changing so much, and you're trying to follow that, but you don't need to. You just need to do what's right for you.
Yeah.
I want to go back to what Jessica said, though, about being very honest at the very get-go, on the first date. How do you guys react to that?
Yeah,
would that
do that.
would that be a turn-off, or would that be a?
I'd run away.
You would
but
run
that's
away.
why I'm in the situation I'm in right now.
And that would save me from wasting a lot of time with this guy.
Yeah, and you're right.
Because he would run me through the ringer, and in the end, he would still run anyway.
I'm
So
dealing with that right now.
Right.
Where I'm
So
getting the girl wants more.
But the thing
I
is,
can't-
you should be honest.
I did. No.
And from day one, go, look, I'm not looking for anything.
I'm a Mets fan.
This is
Let's get it right out of the way.
That's it.
It took me about 2 months to come through and be like, listen, this I don't.
2
want
months
anything
is too
serious.
long.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that right there, 2 months she's in. She's hurting. She's upset. And she's upset with you. Her friends hate you now.
Well, here's my biggest problem. Actually, I've had this conversation with some girls before about her specifically. Just a very casual hooking up right now, and that's just we see each other when she lives in Sarasota. So sometimes I'll text her and go, hey, I'm going to be in Sarasota this weekend. My parents live there, or sometimes she'll come to Tampa. But I let her know about 3 weeks to a month ago that it's not going to be anything serious. It's just going to be when we're together, and she said she was fine with that. Now, my friends that are girls that I've spoken with said she says that, but she doesn't mean that.
She might.
So anybody outside the area that's like an hour away, just in case
Just so
someone's
for people
listening that
like
doesn't
in
know.
Minnesota or something.
Yes, about an hour away. Yes,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
So
Absolutely.
did you text this to her or did you tell her?
Told her.
You told her.
Yes.
And so she reacted and said, I'm fine with it.
Fine with it. We were in person too. I did it face to face.
So all you ladies, if you're an hour or more away, Aaron is available.
Yes, on the weekend.
Anybody closer, run.
Well, there is a thing with proximity, and about that. Sorry, I'm fixing this camera here as I'm talking. Proximity is weird. That's why I kind of like the dating apps, because it does allow a wider net, right? There may be a lot of people I never even would talk to, because we do gravitate. There is like a practicality of who you meet, right? So it's about proximity a lot of the time. I mean, it used to be back in the day, pre kind of modern internet that we're in right now. You'd marry like 70% of the people marry like people within 90 miles of them.
Like the first person they date.
Right, something
Right.
like that. So this is a kind of a new sphere where you're meeting people that you may have never had the opportunity to back in the day.
Well, I feel like the two of you, though, are on different paths right now.
Well,
because you're ready to find the one, right?
No. I'm the other way. I'm going. Actually, to me, he sounds like he's ready.
I'm ready.
What?
I just don't believe in my ability to
Well,
do
because-
He
it.
wants to. I don't.
See, I feel like you don't. You're 29 tomorrow.
Yeah.
You still have so much time, and I know you think, "Oh my gosh, I'm 29." I didn't find mine until I was 34. But
it's not that I don't think they're out there. It's I don't trust myself to commit. I mean, the dating apps have killed me where I am.
have you been hurt?
No.
I think you got to do some shrooms,
Are you
man.
scared?
I think you
There you
got to.
go.
I think you got to know yourself. I think you got a real thing where you got to figure out yourself. And this sounds corny, but I didn't know a lot about myself and figured I lost that sense of self. I went through a divorce, so that's.
And he has 2 young kids.
I've got babies that are 2.5, 1.5, and so it's great. It's always a good thing when a guy says I just got a divorce. But like I lost my sense of self throughout that process and had to regain it back in a way. And I always just say, as a joke, I just say maybe you got to go in the woods and do some shrooms. But what I'm really saying is like, you can't. It's like in business too. When I'm consulting a lot of people, if you don't know what you are as a company, how the hell are you going to hire us to go out there and market for you? How are we going to go out? What's your brand? If you don't know who you are, what you are, why you're better, what you're not good at, then how can we go out and consult for you? How can we make you better if you don't know what you're good at, know what you don't know, and know what you like and don't like? And if you can't, and that's why I tell my clients, if you want to know your branding, you need to go in the woods and do some shrooms.
But I think
and
this
get
is
in.
me being honest with myself.
No, I think you're on the path. It sounds
Well, you're
like
just
that.
scared. I think you will not open yourself up to get hurt.
or still thinking about the girl
Maybe.
that lives in California.
This has become a lot about me. I knew this was going to
Well, no, you're just the case. You're just
Yeah,
the
I'm the
case
case
study.
study.
I mean that.
Great.
We're not picking on you personally
I think
at
a
all.
lot of people are in the same boat as me because, and
Right.
listen, tell me if I'm wrong here. This is why I think the dating apps have become a huge problem for dating in America, because you have men who naturally are wired to want to have sex with women, right?
Mhm.
They want the physical they want that connection, and there are women out there.
I want to cuddle mostly.
Listen, to each their own.
Naked.
But there are men that are looking for purely just sex. And they might tell you they're not, but a lot of them are. And I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying a lot of them. And there are women out there that don't want that. And they'll say on their Tinder profiles or their Bumble profiles, I'm looking for a long-term relationship. The biggest problem is once that physical connection happens, for some men, and I know this is a big problem for me, I think I'm emotionally invested, right? I think I like her. And then you might have that physical connection a little too early, right?
Right.
And then the next day you wake up and you're like, yeah, it was fun, but not into it.
That's that's not unusual though.
And it's not.
I
and
know
that's
a
the
lot
biggest
of my guy
problem.
friends are like that. They hit it and quit it, as the old saying used to go. I mean, I think
Loves
that
watching his language because of the
I cuss,
last time.
I cuss a lot, so I do real talk, as my brothers tell me.
And I'm a little bit more conservative, so that's why he's.
I'm just.
I appreciate
well,
it. Dude, I
there's
appreciate it.
there's a physiological thing with a lot of guys that you get scared afterwards because there's a vulnerability to it.
Oh, I'm very sensitive. I'm very vulnerable. Like, I'm open about that.
But it might be too vulnerable, and it almost might. I don't know if you have trust issues or any of that. That might be part of the issue why it makes you run away. I don't know.
I cry after sex.
Oh,
No,
nice.
No.
Oh, I was like,
Do you think
well done.
that
That
do
good?
Well, do you think nowadays, if you are with someone intimately too soon, that it could be a turnoff to some guys?
Yes. Yes.
If you're what now?
If you're intimate too soon, do you think it could be a turnoff
As
to
far
some
as
guys?
long term, yes.
Yes.
I think
Um,
that's bull, though.
I don't
That's
think
bull.
so.
Probably.
Yeah.
I think it's just.
It depends on the person.
I think
you
it's
think?
different.
Once again, I think it's a chemistry thing. I think there's like one day the two of you will meet somebody, and it could be what you think is going to be a one night stand. And then you, after, are laughing the entire time. You stay up all night long. You're exhausted the next day. You can't stop texting each other. And you're like, what the? What
What the emoji?
emoji just happened?
Hey, I was impressed though how you were
I-
like
I-
picking stuff.
We're
Caught
gonna need a
myself.
cough mic in here, I think, pretty soon. Yeah, no, but you're
It just happened.
you're under the assumption that's what I'm looking for. It's
Right,
not.
But not.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point. Dating in America is you're
What's the-
exactly where you want to be.
Yep. Exactly.
You know, I don't know about you. Are you?
I don't either. I don't know
But
if I'm where
I
wanna
think
be.
I do think what you do is have a wall up. You say, "Oh, I know," and I'm very honest with myself, and blah blah blah, and really, what
You're
it
not
is
buying it.
is no, because I do think you've been through a divorce. I've got 2 daughters. I've been through and that a separation, and that's where I've had my most growth. That's where I've learned the most about myself. You're just not in position yet because you are out of something so new, and you've got babies, and there's a lot.
Well, you
to be
got
said
3
about that.
years of kind of marginally shitty Shih Tzu. You're
Correct. I mean,
worse. It was worse for about 3 years. So it was. I was kind of already in it for a long time, and we're talking October. Really kind of.
So it's
broke
very
off.
soon.
Yeah, but it isn't. It's May right now, and
yeah,
it's,
but it is when you're dealing with kids. But
kids are awesome. I'm not
the
worried
growth,
about that.
Not about the kids, but I'm just saying it's not just a breakup.
Oh, well,
You're now connected to somebody
I did
that you
oh,
have
yeah,
to.
That part is
you have
horrible.
to go through.
Yeah.
and it's not like you can just walk away. You had to go through the whole court and some nasty things to get where you're at. I've been through it. Now I've got a great relationship with my ex. Okay, and
Yeah.
we co-parent so great. We spend holidays together. But when I tell you,
You never thought you would get to that
the
point at the
growth-
beginning.
No, but I also thought I knew I was in a good spot and I knew what I wanted and all these things. I can tell you, I don't think there has been a part of my life that I've had more growth than that. You
Right.
know? And then with you, I just think you've got a wall up. Like, God forbid you let somebody come in
Now
and you
Jessica's
get
talking
hurt.
to Aaron for the people who are
Sorry.
just
Yeah.
listening.
I
Aaron.
forgot to mention my mother's a divorce attorney as well, so I've always
Oh
been
my
kind
God.
Of
There you
Oh.
go.
Oh,
Jesus
okay. All
Christ,
right.
dude.
Well, there you
yeah.
Talk
go.
about bearing the lead,
Yeah,
dude.
sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
I just remembered it. Let's really dig. Let's peel these layers.
Look,
Right.
I did the therapy. I did all the stuff, all the steps. I did a mental health evaluation just to make sure I'm not the one that's going nuts about it. So I'm with you on that. I knew even when it was at its worst, I go all on the. I'm an aggressive optimist, so it's kind of like if I was getting in your ear earlier, I just want what's best for you as far as what you're trying to do, as far as go in the woods, find yourself kind of thing. I'll get that vein in my forehead a little bit, but I did the therapy and I go even at its worst, I'll still come out the other side a lot better because you have to get to that valley to kind of get somewhere else. If you want to sound really corny, but
I think you both are going through something, and it's a big part of the dating in America where now divorce rates being up as they are, it's not uncommon. finding somebody else post-divorce. I think that's a big thing.
Well, I like how Sarina's just totally just not talked about herself in
Oh,
this
I never did.
situation.
No,
And
we.
She just
oh,
she just deflected the whole
yes,
time.
Of course.
You know
That's
what?
not going to happen.
a new part of dating in America too. Social media,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook. You break up with somebody. Never used to happen where you break up with somebody, you disconnect. You don't see them anymore. Maybe if you're living in a
Right.
different state, whatever. Now with Facebook, you see their new boyfriends. You
Right.
see what they're doing.
It's very painful. It can
Oh,
be very,
awful.
very painful.
If you want to.
It's,
you want to.
It's hard to not click the torture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I purposely made it quiet. Like I've changed my status and all that stuff just to not make it pop up on everybody's feed. I just thought that's just better off. No, why bring that announcement, right?
Right.
It's not my quinceanera. I don't need to tell everybody about it. I have a new dress. I'm 15. And I just put, hey, single now. I didn't even put divorce or any of that.
Yeah.
Just put single and just made sure to hide that as soon as it popped up. I just immediately
Yeah,
deleted
but
it.
do you ever see your ex on Facebook or anything?
No,
like
I
that?
deleted all
Oh,
that.
you deleted
She asked me
okay.
to, actually.
Wow, okay.
I proposed to her at the Improv on stage. We're both comedians, and she asked me to take everything down, so I just took everything down.
Wow.
Because I think it can be painful. I mean, people are strong enough sometimes not to look, but when they do look and they do see someone, that they were in love with or dated for a long time, and then they see him with their new person, it can be. So why put that pain on yourself? That's the advice I would give to people out there that do not look at social media.
I always say block, and they're like, "Well, I don't want to be immature." And I'm like, it has nothing to do with immaturity. It's called getting over it. And then if you want to unblock, you can, but there's no reason to torture yourself and have to see these posts coming up, or even worse, the person who continually breaks up with you and then reaches out to you. Hey, just want to make sure you're okay. Like, what?
Yeah.
Make sure I'm okay.
Right.
Like, what? Now you care how I
How
feel?
long after you talking?
How? Oh, that's what
No,
you
no,
are?
no.
Oh, you're the texter.
It's
You're like
because
just checking in on you.
Look, every
because you know
guy.
what
I'm
that
talking
means,
about
right?
the minute
Yeah.
after. Like
Oh,
like
no,
for
that's
me.
stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, 3 months after. If we're done, we're done.
Yeah, but if
Right.
the 3 months after, I'm just giving you a perspective from a guy. 3 months after, they reach out saying, "How you doing?" They miss you. They want to get back with you. That's it, or at least see you again. That's it. 'Cause
And-
I've been that guy.
Okay, so you miss them and
But
you want to see them again
for that moment.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
That's
you're-
my biggest problem. Is
Exactly.
I know it's a me problem.
it's a
selfish.
selfish,
thing.
yes. And you're
Absolutely.
just like, and it's a moment for you where
Yeah.
you're like, I'm lonely and nobody's
No doubt.
answering my phone calls. Let me check on Susie.
And that's why I've always said I'm very honest with everything I'm going through right now is a very selfish.
Should we call
form of
Susie?
dating.
Put her on
Like-
the line.
And call her
let's
right
put
now.
Susie on the phone.
Susie sounds hot. I've never dated Susie.
Well, she sounds hot because she lives more than an hour away. That's the only reason.
Yeah, she's not up in your stuff. That's
I
all.
thought you guys were going to fix me today. I've
What-
just unraveled all
You
my
got to break it
problems.
down to build you back up,
Right.
man.
Yeah, and I think that you still.
Well,
I
how
think there
about we
is. I don't think there's closure with
I
the
agree.
girl.
I agree.
And until
California.
there's closure with the girl, we have learned, I would say, a lot today. And there's another topic that we have to talk about, but we've got to save that for another show, and that's ghosting. Because, oh my God, I cannot even tell you how many questions I've been getting from people about the whole ghosting thing. So that's going to be our next
That's
topic.
a tease. Yeah.
Right.
I'm
But what-
never going to feel good about myself leaving these
Oh, no,
podcasts.
wait, come on now. Come on now.
Uh,
I think we learned today, though, that from Jessica and the female perspective, that women do want to be approached.
Yes, I would.
At a restaurant
I think,
or a
I
bar,
mean,
and-
I don't want to speak for all women. I know I love the gender roles. I would like to be approached by a man. I am not going to approach a man.
Next time a girl
Not
shoots
happening.
me down at the bar, I'm going to be like, but Jessica told me to.
Hey, you call me and I'll put her in her place. I'll be there.
Dude, Jessica wants
I'll be right there.
And then what we also learned, right, that Law, you're going to start calling people because rather than
That was
texting-
that was last episode. We talked a lot about that text versus. I'll call. Yeah, I'd rather call. It's just I'm better. I'm a better conversationalist than a texter. I think.
Law's just coming out of the woods from his
Right.
trip, so we'll see where that goes.
Oh no, I crush it on Hinge. A 3 out of 10 joke on Hinge is like killer because no guys will ever be vulnerable enough to comment on a lot of stuff. So I'm doing okay. It turns out I'm going for Tampa Bay. I'm going for Creative Loafing's 2019 DILF of the Year award, Best of the Bay. I kept it clean.
Nice.
That's what I'm going for. that it's a write-in, so I need y'all's help to write in and vote.
You heard it. You heard it here, guys. Okay. And from Aaron, gosh, we so appreciate your honesty. But I learned here too that you are more old-fashioned that way too. That if someone is intimate too soon, there are guys out there that it can be a turnoff.
Yeah, and now that we dove into it, I don't know if that's just a me thing. I don't know. I'm not sure yet, because sometimes I feel that way, but that could be an excuse.
Aaron needs to start dating within a 10-mile radius. I think that's his first.
Next goal.
Yes.
Proximity.
If she's
Look out,
11 miles is too much.
Look
Y'all
out.
have to be it's like within Starbucks range, okay?
I'm going to work on this.
Okay,
I'm going to work on myself.
It's a good theory. Starbucks proximity.
Right.
And I'm signing off the dating apps. I'm getting off of them. I'm old school bar. I'm changing.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll have to check in.
So we'll
have to check
revisit
in.
this,
Yes, we will definitely revisit this.
I'll be on more apps.
We'll definitely revisit it for sure. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to Trailblazer. You can find me on multiple social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Sarina Fazan News, or on YouTube, suggestions by Sarina. But really the best way to find me is just to go to my blog at sarinafazan.com, and all my social media platforms are on there. And in closing, I always say this, paraphrasing one of my favorite poets, Ralph Waldo Emerson, go where there is no path and leave a trail. You're listening to Trailblazer. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm Sarina Fazan. Thanks, guys. Did you guys?
That was fun. That was fun. I knew that was gonna happen to him.
Oh my gosh, and we could have talked more, So, oh my gosh, Jess, you guys were very, very impressive. I feel a little like